You go metal detecting?
My homie had one, Jake.
Yeah, I used to go metal detecting all the time.
What?
Yeah, dude, metal detecting's cool.
And we found a big bag of these shits. And they're from all over, like everywhere.
Oh, there was a bag of them.
Yeah.
There's buried?
I have a lot. Yeah, check them out. They're not American, but some of them American, like Peru, all over.
So how long have you been collecting these? Oh shit, dude.
That shit's really old.
Yeah, that is.
Like some Viking shit right there, bro.
That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, they're all different. Like,
So have you always been interested in coins?
I just like art, bro. Like, it ain't about the coins. Just like anything that like a form of art, I'm attracted to it.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. Like, I like drawing, painting, definitely music. Anything with art, that's what I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
That's just my thing.
That's cool, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
you can kind of see into the minds of the people that live in these different societies too.
Something like that, yeah.
You ever mess with like Canadian money?
Somewhat in.
Like it feels different. Like the
Yeah,
paper of it is
I got
different.
some Canadian
it's
money.
Like,
as a
it's
matter of
soft.
fact. Yeah, I got Canadian money too. Like that's like a $5 bill. Canadian money has like a see-through like plastic cellophane thing on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like playing with it, man. Like, I've got some Peruvian like change. If you want it, you can have it. Honestly, man, I got some loose foreign change that I don't really need.
Word.
I always come across the weirdest stuff, man. I got arrowheads. I don't know where they came from, coins, stuff like that. You know.
Word. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I actually used to be really big into metal detecting.
I wasn't. That was a
Really?
Yeah, but that was like a first time thing, and then like it went off, and we started digging around, and we found like this massive bag of like old ass coins.
I've never
Really
found
good.
anything cool here. Honestly, I'll find like nails. Magnet fishing though, you need to
I've
get
heard
on
about that. I've seen that on
Man.
YouTube when they throw the like thing. They be pulling up guns and all kind of shit on that thing.
Yeah, I've pulled up skateboards, man, GoPros, phones, and what's crazy too is like, you'll be magnet fishing, and people will come up to you, and they'll be like, honestly, man, I dropped a murder weapon, scratched off the numbers, I threw it at so and so spot. Do not go there. Like, guys will. I've had people walk up to me and be like, hey, man, this spot by the dam, don't go there. I don't want this gun getting found.
Like, damn.
And it's just like, you are oversharing.
Yeah, they just drop this on themselves. Like, wow.
Yeah, like you are oversharing. It's fun though, man. I haven't done it for a few years, but like I remember when
I'm pretty sure Montana, you'll find some ancient relics out here. Some crazy
yeah,
stuff.
no, I found some
Probably
cool
a whole
stuff.
car out of it.
I haven't done it since I was a teen, man. And back when I first got into it, you couldn't find the kits, so I'd have to go online and just find the magnets, and then I'd have to find the super strong rope. And now you go on like Amazon, and it's just hundreds of packs for it, which I'm glad like it's picking up.
Yeah.
But it's also like when you lose that niche thing that you're the only person that's into it.
That's how, yeah. That's how music is nowadays. Like hip hop music is like that too. Like, it's like it was cool when just certain people that were good at it were doing it. Now everybody, grandma thinks they're good at doing music or whatever have you.
Yeah.
And I feel like honestly some of that stuff is just messing up the game of hip hop. Honestly.
I feel like it's kind of like the advancement of technology though.
But it's like nobody's being original no more. You know how you used to watch movies, now they got remakes to this, or you hear a song that's a remake of this song. It's not like people are afraid to go to push themselves farther to be creative.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. And I don't that's one thing I don't like about music. People don't really push themselves to be creative. They stay in a comfort zone or like a comfort bubble. If I do this song, oh, I know they'll like this. They're afraid to step out and be creative. Art like artwork. You know what I'm saying? You can only replicate something so many times before it gets, you know what I'm saying? It's me speaking. You can only replicate something so many times.
Yeah, I actually had this thought the other day where it's like the first people to create, what inspired them, right? Because for a lot of people, their first work is an imitation of something else. It is an imitation of something they fucked with, right?
That's true.
When you look at a lot of artists, like that's a common theme. But if you're the first man,
Not only artists, but producers as well,
Yeah.
movie producers. How many remakes have we
Right.
seen of like all the old like early '90s, early '80s classics? They just keep remaking it over and over
Yeah.
and over again. Like scary movies, for instance, they keep remaking them over and over and over again.
and when I had that thought, I thought back to my childhood. I grew up in Nevada, and we used to go to the mountains. We go four-wheeling often, and sometimes we would find these caves that had drawings on them. We'd go to Arizona, go to Nevada. My grandfather was a fucking crazy man. I feel like the concept of private property just did not click with him. We went four-wheeling anywhere, right? And I remember as a kid when he first showed me cave drawings, and they're just drawings of animals and people. And it makes me think it's like the first artists, they just looked around, they saw what was there, and that's what inspired them. And I think with the advancements of like technology, like a phone, like you could make an album on a phone.
Yeah.
Steve Lacy talks about that all the time. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's kind of rode this wave of inspiring people because he recorded his first album on GarageBand.
You gotta think of it now, like phones are a powerful thing now. People can make millions off of just pictures, Snapchat, all that. Make big money just with their phone. They don't need anything else. They can be a motivational speaker or whatever they want to be, but just a phone. It's crazy. Technology is, real.
Yeah, it's making it simpler, I guess, to imitate, but not necessarily easier to create.
Yeah, I agree with that. Easier to duplicate, but in that sense, like it's easier to duplicate something, but it's not easy to be creative anymore to create your own art or whatever you want to call it. Everything to me is like imitation.
Yeah.
They say imitation is the best way to flatter, but damn, I'm pretty flattered from the shit I've been seeing all my life.
No. I think a lot of good artists will admit that their first work was inspired by someone else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The part of it is finding your own art.
Definitely.
In imitation. I read this book by Stephen King called On Writing, and in there he flat out says, like, I can't tell you how to write. He's honest about it. He's like, there's no fucking secret. There's no magic to it. You just go out and you do it. And he's like, and he mentions that in his writing, like a lot of it, the stories, the ideas of it, he stole from movies he watched or read, and he just made an imitation with the same themes, but after a while it started flowing straight from his mind. You know what I mean? It started becoming a thing where those themes he had taken from others evolved into themes he was making himself.
Yeah, because Stephen King was a genius.
Yeah.
I love that Gunslinger series he had. I used to read him all the time.
He's good at writing, man.
Yeah, he is. He'll draw you in. It's like once you start, it's like.
Exactly. He paints a picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good.
And,
That Cemetery was good. They all were good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I get it's like the same thing with music too, though. If there's always room for lyrics that have no meaning. With guys that want to make club songs or want to make a pop song, but on the flip side, with people that are more into lyrics and painting stories, you could create that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Language is a beautiful thing.
It is. Language mixed with rhythm makes it even beautifuler thing, but that's not a word it should be though. Yeah, just like hip hop, for instance. I look at hip hop as a form of art, like a painting. You're painting a verbal picture, but it's you know what I'm saying. You gotta image it like verbally, like a verbal image. You can see the picture. You can see it being said or being spoken. That's how I look at it as. Because hip hop can be sad, it can be depressing, it can be happy, it can be, like you said, club, it can be so many things. It's expressive art. That's what I look at it as.
When it comes to making music, do you start? I know every artist gets asked this question. I've seen it all over, but for you, does it start with an idea of a subject, or is it, with your lyrics, or does it start with a beat? Does it start with just an instrumental? Or does it change?
It all depends, because I can do so many different things in my music. Mostly, like, I'll sit in front of that computer right there, I'll turn on something, I'll start messing around, and if I'm messing around, built everything around the snare for some reason. I don't. That's the way I've always done it.
I'm not gonna put any music out. None of my beats will see the light of day.
What?
But I do the same thing. I also
Really?
build
Like
rhythms.
I use the snare like a metronome almost.
Yeah.
So like I start like melody, key it in, then I'll go the hi hats, then I'll go to the bass and the kicker, and that's how I get my.
When you're doing that snare,
Mm-hmm.
are you thinking about the lyrics that are gonna come into play?
No, I don't really think about the lyrics until the melody hits, and the melody to me shapes the way the beat or the song will turn out. I know it sounds weird, like that's the way I do it, because I don't really have a real piano. I have a keyboard. I don't have a MIDI keyboard. I don't have no
Yeah.
drums, and then I'm just mostly like done with keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, there's no wrong way.
Yeah.
There's no wrong way to make music. I mean, whether it's just for yourself or you're making it for other people. I mean, as long as it feeds your soul, that's all that really matters.
Oh yeah. But I've been doing this thing for a hot minute. I don't think I'm gonna stop anytime soon. It's like a calming mechanism for me. You know, it takes me places that I can't go physically, but it takes me away mentally. Like it's hard to explain it when it comes to music. It's like it's something that being a musician yourself, you know what I mean. It gives you that feeling, that euphoric rush that you're doing something that you like doing, and it takes you to a place that you like going. You know, it's like almost like a euphoric drug. That's how music is to me.
When I was younger, I would often get told when we perform that I don't move around enough.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
for me, I played the bass guitar.
Oh yeah.
And the bass, I think, is one of the most euphoric instruments. It really is, because what happens is you are the center of the rhythm
Oh,
and the
yeah.
groove. And what would always happen with me is I'd be sitting there playing the bass, and I'd look over at the drummer, magic, guitarist, magic, and I'd just be in the middle of all the sound, and everyone would be like, "Why aren't you going to the crowd?" Because I am having so much fun in
Yeah,
this.
your little your
This
personal
bubble is a bubble is a beautiful thing that I am in.
like this bubble.
I don't care if there's 10 people
Yeah.
out there or 10,000. I am loving being right here. This
Oh, yeah.
moment is great, and knowing that, in being in the rhythm section, being the bassist, being in the middle of the groove, that you're holding it down. So if the guitarist goes all crazy,
Oh,
he
yeah.
can look back and just be like, "Oh shit, okay, we're back on groove." Or the singer, or the rhythm guitarist. So I love that about music.
Oh yeah, music can take you places you've never been before, and inside yourself, and just like mainly people that really don't talk a lot. Music is a very good way to express who they are and how they feel at that time.
In the past, I've explained it as like almost like a spiritual thing, which may sound a little silly,
No.
but once you get on that groove and everyone is on the same wavelength, it's like, it's strange.
It's just like everybody's in sync, and it's just
Yeah.
it's that
You're like,
flow,
you're like a machine.
and just the music takes over you, and the rhythm takes over you, and you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've tried to explain it to people that have never tried music,
That's
or
all right.
people that have other interests. I've tried to
Yeah.
connect it to that, like whether
Art.
it's acting or
Yeah.
painting or fucking skiing, like whatever. But yeah, man.
Cause I do it all. Like, man, I get a rush from everything.
Yeah.
Like, I even got like a miniature chemistry set where I make my own cologne as well.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, I got it too. Hold on, 2 seconds.
All right. Well,
And
let's
I-
see the goal.
I make it all organically too. It's all organic. It has like really good stuff in there. And that might be it.
Do you sell the cologne?
A couple friends of mine buy it from me locally. They love it. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, I make it.
All right. What's it called?
It's called Sir Augustine.
Sir Augustine. Okay. Okay. This episode is sponsored by Flayzia
Sir
Beats.
Augustine.
Sir Augustine.
Yeah, it's hypoallergenic. You know what I'm saying? You can put it on. There's no alcohol in it.
Oh, that actually smells really fucking good.
I know. And it's all from all natural stuff. It's not even like a cologne. It's more like a body agent. It
Yeah.
you can put it on. It repairs like skin cells. It hair, aging, all that shit.
So are you into alternative medicine then?
Not really. I don't know. I'm in anything, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're just a free spirit. You're
yeah.
open minded.
I go wherever it takes me. Like wherever my eyes just take me, that's where I go.
Yeah.
Like I paint, draw, everything.
Where do your ideas come from?
I couldn't tell you.
I've seen interviews of.
That's the crazy part. I couldn't tell you.
No. I've seen interviews of artists. Like one, for example, is John Lennon, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Lennon said it was like, I could be misquoting him, but it was like, pick a drum out of the air.
I mean,
some ideas for lyrics, you know, and like for me, I often will dream of ideas for like movies. I'll dream plots of movies,
I mean,
or
Jack
like
even,
I'll dream of music. I've
like,
dreamt of some beautiful music I know I've never heard.
like I grew up in poverty. We didn't really have much, so I always was the kind of kid that I'd make my own toys or draw my own comic book or whatever like that. Even when I was young, so I'm saying we never had anything, so we always had to improvise and do stuff. But now that I'm coming out of poverty by moving to Montana, I get all these free ideas and I actually have stuff to build with or to work with, and that's where it really came from, honestly though. Coming from nothing and finally getting to having something, so like, you know, I'm not caged in no more. I have a free mind to do whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I'm never bored. I'm always finding something to do.
So I remember you told me you kind of started creating later in life, like music. I mean, it wasn't something you were doing like as a kid or a teen, right?
I mean, recording music and stuff like that. That came around like, I want to say like 18, 17, 18. That's when that came, because I've always, like my oldest brother was in the music real heavy, and I used to always sneak downstairs and play with his little beat machine. And then it got to the point where like my parents were like, okay, we ain't got much money, but we're gonna get him something. So they got me like a little ass Casio keyboard, and I was like making beats on that at like a young age.
Man, you could do a lot with a synth, a synthesizer, a little keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Also, I'm sure, man. I've had the $70 keyboards, and all you gotta do is plug a thing into the computer, plug a thing into a program, dude. You can fucking do anything.
I didn't have none of that. I had the keyboard.
Yeah.
I was still like storing little beats on it. And, like I always had an ear for rhythm. Like rhythm was one thing. I learned that from my parents. Like my dad was Panamanian. My mom was African American. It's like I get to hear the best of like what they call. I don't know what they call that music back then. But like you get that Spanish music, then you go over here, you got like the blues.
Was Spanish like more like salsa?
No, it wasn't called salsa. It was called something else. I forgot the name.
I've seen some really crazy Spanish guitar. I've seen
Oh,
some
yeah.
insane Spanish guitar, man.
Like Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
That man can play the hell out of that guitar. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I never. I feel like I don't know if I didn't put enough time, but I feel like I never could get guitar like that. Bass and synth, keyboard, bass. It always made sense for me, but watching guys on guitar,
Yeah.
just never was. You know, the movements of the fingers. Like I can groove. I definitely can groove, but man, some of that guitar.
certain things speak to certain people. Like you know,
Yeah.
your calling is that bass guitar, that doom 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 doom, or however you do it. Like that's your calling. That's your niche. That's where you know that you can't be messed with or fucked with. The bass guitar is your thing. You know what I'm saying? You might dabble with other things, but that bass guitar is the one that really.
Yeah. No, that the bass will always have my heart for
Yeah.
sure, man.
You know, when I started, I started rapping, and I just got tired of hearing the same instrumental every time. Like mainly in the '90s, you didn't have any. So like, I started getting the FL Studio and started making my own beats, and I've been doing it ever since.
Are you still using FL Studio?
Yes, I use FL Studio 20 now. They had 21 out. I ain't fucking with that.
I tried with Ableton, man. Ableton just gave me headaches. I don't know if you ever dabbled with Ableton.
No, I messed with a free copy of it one time. And I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't.
I've had that. I've had Reasons, Logics, Pro Tools,
You've gone through them all.
all of them. I know all the dolls.
FL Studio's home.
FL Studio's home, because that's when you can actually type in like
difficult. There's a lot to do, but like out of the other programs I've tried, FL Studio makes sense.
And when it comes to recording, I use the Adobe, I think the Adobe C6, CS5, Producer Edition. That's why I get record all my vocals and mix and master on that too. Yeah, I'm a music fan. I love music.
When you first got into rap, rapping yourself,
Mm-hmm.
who were your biggest influences? When you were young.
Definitely was Tupac. I'm not going to stunt on that. Like, I remember the first real CD I had from him was the All Eyes on Me, the double disc. It was a CD, it was a double disc CD. And then from there,
No skips.
no skips.
No skips on All Eyes on Me.
All Eyes on Me was apart from the beginning.
There's
I won't deny it. I'm straight right. But as soon as that hit, you're like, oh, this is my CD. I'm doing this. And then from there, from Tupac, well, it's always been Tupac. And then another CD I had was who was it? It was a dope MC. It was a while. Let me think back. I had Mobb Deep. Definitely had Mobb Deep. I wasn't really. I mean, I like Biggie, but Tupac came with him so hard, he made you like, oh man. I'm not even from the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit.
See, my thing with Biggie is like he has some undeniable hits. He
Yeah.
has some undeniable songs. But if I listen to a Biggie album front to back, I'm gonna be skipping some tracks. I'm just being honest with you. There's something about Bad Boy with their production.
It's not the same. It's a loop.
It's something with their production and like the fucking. Yeah, I get that.
They had a lot of good groups in there. Like they had Total. Total was like a good little female R&B group. They had Biggie. They had Lil Kim. They had Lil C's. They had a couple good artists that came out when they came out with the Little Junior Mafia, whatever that's what they called themselves when it came out. It was alright.
Can we just be honest that Diddy is horrible at rapping? Can there be like?
I don't know, man. He had a couple good. He don't. I know he probably don't write his own raps, but that the "Been Around the World" remix, I used to bump that shit back in the '90s, bro. I've been around. That beat was just so, and the flow they had to it was just so. It was out of this world.
Every time I ever heard Diddy, like I can tolerate it, but it's just like, man, what are you doing?
Diddy was alright. Yeah. He was alright. Take that.
Yeah. Have you heard his son?
No.
Oh my god.
Nope.
His son raps the exact same.
I stopped at Diddy.
Bro, I'm telling you, his son raps the exact same. They're sharing girlfriends too. They got a weird thing going on in that household.
No. Well, like I said,
Yeah,
I've always been.
It's weird.
Yeah. No, I can't do Diddy. But like I said, when it came to Pac, like Pac, always. I don't know who he like. Everybody was trying to give him like the best beats, and they knew Pac was. He was a good person. He was a good soul. He was like. He was motivational. He was energetic. So when they got a hold of his shit, they were like a cut to the bed. Like right after the All Eyes on Me came the Machiavelli album, and that Machiavelli album was a masterpiece. That was to me that's one of his best albums he's ever made was the Machiavelli Don Illuminati 7-Day Theory album. That album was fire.
He wasn't meant to be on this world long, and his discography is so impressive.
To be so young.
And the amount of like the work ethic he had was ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
he was working like a man with borrowed time.
He knew it. Like I think deep down inside, something in him knew that he didn't have long to live. But then, like you said, borrowed time. That little bit of time, he spread so many messages. Like still to this day, Tupac's album still like he's still even on YouTube, he's still getting millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of hits.
Yeah.
Like he was like a hip hop version of Michael Jackson almost.
Yeah.
Like
no, like the only like rapper poster I ever had in my room was a Tupac poster. My parents hated it. My parents were not fucking with the Tupac poster. They were scared. But I was like, I remember telling them when I was young, I was like, it's not just about the music.
Mm-hmm.
With him, it was like he would put out the hardest gangster music, and then he would drop something that really would
like
make you sit down.
Baby or Dear Mama.
Or think about like the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
Think about private prison.
Yeah.
Think about censorship. Like how a neighborhood or a group can get broken. Try to piece it back together.
Or how you came from nothing and you're building something. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always about. I mean, yeah, he had a couple gangster songs, but he wasn't telling nobody out there to go, oh, go do this and go do that. He was just telling people like, this is where I'm from, and this is what life is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, like most gangster rappers back then, they were just spitting about their lives.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Some of them might have stretched a little bit, but they were just speaking about their lives. They were never saying, hey, this is what you got to go do. But it's like when you grow up in the projects or you grow up in a bad area, most people that grow up in bad areas, like myself and others, we didn't never had a father figure. So they sit there and they watch like the movies, like they never really had a positive movie where you see like a black family making it through. It's always they come from the hood, just drive-bys, there's the Bloods, the Crips, and it's like the drugs. And it's like, damn, like do we ever get like a good movie? The only good TV shows we ever had was like the Fresh Prince and the Cosby Show
Yeah.
and Little Single and Martin. But other than that, like they never had really like if you see a movie with a black character, they're always playing the gangster, the thug, or the person that has a low IQ. You know and then people see that out here in reality, and the kids that grown up in the project see that shit. They're like, oh, this is how we got to do to be money. We make money. We got to sell drugs. We got to gang bang. And then people that's outside see the movies. They're like, oh, that's their gang. That's them gang bangers or them thugs or them criminals. And it's like it fucks up everything. 'Cause, yeah, like I stayed in a project. It wasn't like every day you turn around somebody got killed. You know what I'm saying? It happened, but it wouldn't happen like every damn day.
You know, like I understand not glorifying it, but speaking your truth.
Hmm.
But the mission should always be to get out.
It's impossible when you ain't got no area.
Yeah.
There's no areas
Yeah.
to get out. Only a
Yeah.
few people make it out. Most of them get trapped in either prison, jail, or drugs. You know,
Yeah.
I guess like everybody. I've had a lot of people like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? You didn't end up like how your friends did because I got out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stay. I was always trying to get away. Like when I first had my daughter, we stayed in Salem Gardens in Winston-Salem, and we seen drive-bys, shootings, stabbings, rapings, you name it. I was like, I'm not gonna keep my kid in this shit.
Yeah.
No. So the first time I got a little bit of money, I bought my ass up here in Montana. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even really know anybody. I didn't even have no plan. I was like, I'm gonna try it out. And then from there, shit, I came by myself the first time. And I got a call from my baby mama. She was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going through a tough time. You know what I'm saying? I want you to come get these two kids, you know what I'm saying, and see if we can do something while I'm trying to make it out here. I said, yeah. They were 3 and 4 at the time. I drove from Montana all the way down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Put them in the car, drove them all the way back, and I've been pretty much like single parent the whole time.
Being a single parent here, though, you know, where they can go to a school where they might encounter, you know, some racism because, you know, the demographics are different. That's exponentially better, though, than growing up in a place where you're scared to let your kids outside.
It is, because back in like, you gotta think back in the early 2000s and shit, that shit was brutal out there, dude.
Yeah.
Mainly in Winston-Salem, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, Greensboro, you can name all of them. Them places were brutal, like brutal, because it's like it's segregated there. It's crazy, but it's so segregated. Like they keep Bloods will be on the east side, Crips will be on the north side, Mexicans will be on the south side, but in the west side of the neighborhood, it was just all the rich people and like the people that had like good finances. But everywhere else, and like all the East Coast is just hoods. West, East, and they collide.
And it's weird too because when I spent time, I worked for a security company selling security systems. I did it for a couple months, and one of the places I was in the South.
And if you in the South, you see it. Like it's like west side. The west side, anywhere in the South, is always like the good neighborhoods, but the east side, north side are always the hoods. And I tell you, no lie.
In Georgia, man, like I don't know if it's like this in North Carolina, like they're not far apart. It's like crossing into it, like you know, like
you over a bridge.
You drive a couple minutes down the road, and you just go through the brokest of hoods, and now you're just like, oh, these people have money, and the class divide, how just night and day.
You can see it like
neighborhoods.
You go from the liquor store, chicken spot, you start to drive up a little bit more, and then it turns into like plazas and shopping malls and everything. Like, what the wait a minute.
So strange.
Yeah, it is.
Very strange.
It's very it is.
You can see people struggling in your backyard and
it is. It is. And like so many people in them areas like Georgia, like you named North Carolina, they're systematically fucked up because they don't know any better. Nobody's ever showed them any better. They don't have any role models. I'm like, hey man, the shit you're doing is stupid. Like, cut it out. They don't know any better. They continuously get the music that's pumping. Oh, kill this motherfucker. Shoot this motherfucker. Oh, do this. And then you see the movies, they all got the one drug dealer that's making it, and everybody's looking poor. They asking for money and shit. And people in them hoods slowly try to adapt that character to make it like a self. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a self. Like a self pride thing. Like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm slinging drugs. I'm in a gang. Oh, I made it. I'm making it. And then them, it's crazy. It's crazy because in Winston-Salem we had the tobacco companies out there in North Carolina, and like the kids that were rich would come. Like they'll get their cars tricked all the way out and then come into the projects, and like they big dope dealers, and them the ones that usually end up getting fucked up or robbed or some shit by people that really didn't have anything.
Because they're flexing their wealth.
Yeah, they come out there, big ass cars, big rims, and while we in the projects, like that shit ain't never turned out good.
No, that's I was taught that at an early age by my mom. Is like if you're gonna be in a poor neighborhood, man, we wouldn't even like when we would get a TV, we wouldn't even throw in the TV box. And as a kid, I thought it was stupid, but I was like, no, like my mother's a smart woman. Whatever you don't want to flex whatever you do have when you're surrounded by people that have nothing.
Exactly. That shit gets you hurt.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just even like mainly if you really came from nothing, the ones that have worse off than you can have anything, a new pair of shoes, and they'll see that and they're like, okay, yeah, he doing something.
People get killed over shoes, man.
Jordans, mostly.
Yeah, it happens way more than it should.
That's craziness.
It's Chappelle said. Is it Chappelle that said we can't have shit?
Yeah,
we can't have shit.
Nothing. Yeah, it was. It's true because you know what I'm saying. You when you come from nothing, you finally have something. You don't know how to cherish it.
Yeah.
It's just like if a kid was to have like a beautiful butterfly, you know what I'm saying, in their hand, and they're trying to make it home. They're gonna do that. They're gonna cup the butterfly because they don't want it to escape. That one feeling to escape. And by the time they get home, it's dead. That's how life is. Like when you come from nothing to having something, yeah, you want it to glorify it, and that shit can cost you a lot.
That's some real shit.
It is real. It's real. Life is a motherfucker. It is.
Man, it's hard, man. Like, I don't want to say some people are like beyond help, but the generational trauma, man. Generational trauma is
Some people are.
mental chains. Yeah.
Some people are. I've tried to help a lot of people come out here, and the outcome afterwards it's like
they're not like they're institutionalized in like a prison standpoint. They're institutionalized in like
mental.
Yeah,
You
mental.
like Pac said, you don't gotta be in jail to be doing time. He said that in one of his songs, and I understood that at a young age, like what he meant by that shit. Like you don't have to be in jail to be doing time because you're already systematically messed up here to the point it doesn't matter. Like it's like you're in prison, you're confined in your mind, and that stops you from being whatever you want to be because you want to be like what you see on TV or what you hear in a song, and it confines you from being who you really are meant to be up here. And that's the sad part. Because I tried to help a lot of homies come out here. I've had a couple of homies stay with me, and it's like they could not get right, or they could not get out that mental struggle, and they ended up going back and doing 10 times worse back home than they did when they were there. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, like moved here when I was 13. I lived in the city, but I lived in all over Vegas, and I have buddies up here that are like, man, I wish I lived in the big city. Like, I want to leave, and I'm like, my perspective is like, this place to me is like a safe place. Where it's like I can travel anywhere I want, right? But I've seen some fucked up shit in the city.
Exactly. And trauma like that.
There's more opportunities. But when I come back here, I feel okay. I feel secure. Like, the amount of times I had just fucked up experiences living in the city.
Not only that,
Just walking down the sidewalk.
employment is good here. Like, people understand, like if you grow up in a city, they have these things called temp agencies. Like, that's what in North Carolina, that's what they had out there. They had temp agencies. Like, you can guarantee a job one day, and the next day they be like, oh, hell no, we're not dealing with you. I seen a man get shot in a line for a McDonald's application in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. For a McDonald's application. The man was like, I need this job, you know what I'm saying? It was like, the line was already lined up from here to hell. It's like, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna hire all these people anyway. The man had his kid in his car, went back, got a shotgun, and shot the guy point blank range in front of everybody over a line for McDonald's. For McDonald's. And that's how bad the economy
Desperate people do things that you couldn't imagine.
They don't have, there's no resources in the South like that for people to even try to fathom getting ahead in life. Probably now, I haven't been in a while, probably changed since COVID. I haven't been back home in like, say like 14, 15 years. So I wouldn't know. But back then, like 90s, like 99, 96, 97.
I mean, I can only imagine with inflation being as crazy as it is right now, and you know, the class divide's only getting worse. You know, the middle class is diminishing, and I try to be very
Yeah, well, like right now, like time.
I try to be optimistic about the future, but you know,
there is no middle class no more.
The middle class.
Either you got it, or your ass don't. That's what it's coming to
like,
now.
yeah, man. I've been trying to buy a house. Like, I'm 23, and I'm done. I know, but like I'm done fucking around. Like, I'm trying to be ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to buy a house, man. And in my budget, there really isn't shit.
No.
I could buy like an abandoned house.
Fucking porta potty for
but
like
it's like
$75,000.
If I buy an abandoned house, I don't have the fucking money to renovate and completely change everything in an abandoned house. Like, I just can't.
I understand.
So it's like, it's just insane, man.
And the cost of groceries and food just to live now is hell expensive.
And you know, I think this country has a problem with putting off our problems onto the next guy. When you think about it, for like the Senate, for example, when they're passing bills, there's no cap on how many times they can run. There's no age limit. You know, they can just do it forever. So
I mean, they do.
old people just kind of put it onto the next person.
And the people in the Senate, they line themselves to fill their pockets so they won't be like us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I feel deep inside. But they line their pockets up so they can, them and their families can eat good when they're making all these rules and taxes to keep people that work hard and that work resistance so they won't be able to sustain. Like, they give you just enough to barely, like, they give you crumbs so you can feel good about it just for a little while so you can keep working and working and working and working and working. Keep fat in their pockets so you have nothing left.
Shout out Morgan. There's actually been a lot of requests for me to do another one with Morgan. Everyone loves him, man. But I actually had a long talk with a guy the other day, and I was talking about insider trading. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Like stocks?
Yeah, so that's really fun. Yeah, with like senators.
Bro, I'm
people.
I'm involved in all things.
Yeah. So like, what'll end up happening is people at Capitol Hill will kind of get a scoop on it, you know, ahead of time of what's going to be making money or what's going to be losing money, right? So if they dump a bunch of stock, you're probably going to see, you know, some drops. And I was talking about that with him, and I'm like, these motherfuckers get rich off of this shit, right?
It's like gambling.
Yeah. And then he was like, man, it sucks, but you don't know what that feels like. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I've always been so critical of the people in power, but you know, you've heard the term absolute power corrupts. once you're in that seat and you got a motherfucker giving you the scoop, and you're like, I can make a lot of money off of this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always so critical of it, but it's like a side I don't really consider like that greed. Because you look up the net worth of these people that are in office, they're not making shit in office. They don't make any of their money serving. They get it all from their backers, their supporters, the lobbies that support them, and
sponsors and shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
dark money. It's a crazy concept.
It's insane, but it's true.
Yeah. These assholes are the best we got. That's what Carlin said. George Carlin said.
Either that or the one smart man.
Yeah.
I've watched him stand up many a time, and he's always throwing bits and pieces and smart intellect about stuff that people laugh at, but he's telling the truth, and some people don't catch it. They see that, oh, he's being a comedian, but George Carlin is really spitting facts to y'all. Like, y'all gotta wake the fuck up. And it's just changing around y'all. He's a really smart man, very, very intelligent.
Towards the end there, his specials got really, really dark, and he acted like he had completely lost faith in humanity. He hated everyone. I don't know how true that was. I don't know how much of it was part of his act, but he was a brilliant guy. And
smart with all.
If you go on Facebook, you see he ends up becoming like either a Republican or a Democrat. Judging, people would cherry pick his quotes to go at the other side, but they fail to realize he called everyone out. Because it doesn't matter what your alignment is politically or what your dogma is. Like
him and Cat Williams, both of them are very intelligent.
I love Cat Williams.
He sneaks that shit in really good.
I haven't seen any recent specials.
He has one on Netflix. I haven't yet seen it either. I've been a little busy.
I've seen all the older ones though, man. Cat Williams is good.
Oh yeah, he's an intelligent comedian. There's a couple of them.
Hey man, you're a funny guy. You kick me some jokes sometimes on the phone. You made my ass laugh a few times.
I'm alright. Semi-comedic. You know what I'm saying? It comes at spurt.
From the spurts. Yeah. In waves. I feel that like sometimes I'm the funniest motherfucker on the planet, and other times I'm just boring as can be.
Yeah, I'm the same way sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just me. You might get some funny. You might get some music. You might get some whatever. Just who I am.
So you talked about painting.
Oh yeah.
What do you do? Do you have any pieces around here?
I do. I can give you one right now. Matter of fact, yeah, I get bored. I do like anime painting. It ain't nothing.
And then if you want to show it for the camera, if you want to share it. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do a lot of little painting.
Oh, that's badass, dude. So is this a character from like an anime or?
Naruto.
Oh, this is Naruto?
Yeah, it's Gar. The Sand Demon.
So you be fucking with anime?
Yeah, I do it all. I love art, bro.
Yeah, I never really got into anime. I mean, I watched Pokemon when I was a kid, but
I mean, like when it came to Garam, like his story, like was so much like my own that like I gravitated towards that character. I didn't even watch Naruto until his like when I caught on Naruto, it was like about his story.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like this about me? Like it's crazy. Like the backstory is ridiculous.
Hey, that's badass, man. I fuck with it. So is this using a brush?
Yeah.
Okay.
I draw it first on the canvas and then I paint over it. I do my thing.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So what should we're towards the end of the video, so what should we expect from you going forward, music-wise?
Well,
you've got some artists you've added to your roster.
Music-wise, we got Nipple One Talk, the Jamaican artist coming through. We got PTG, the young prodigal. Can't even say that shit's name like the young prodigy, aka Promise the Great. He's been working with me since he was like 14. You know what I'm saying? So he is pretty much like Flayzia 2.0.
Been able to guide his development.
When he wants to do it, sometimes he'll back off because he's not confident in himself. He's so damn good, he scares his damn self. Then we have Cuddy B, of course. You know, we got an album of every one of them coming out soon. And we have a mystery guest, a mystery artist that we're going to bring out soon too. He knows who he is, so yeah, mystery artist
into the lab.
Then, on top of that, we're not even done. Coming to the Lux Bar, we just signed a deal with some important people to have a country music championship. It's coming soon too. I'm gonna be really posting about that shit too. That's coming soon. So yeah, we're getting all the country music artists from Montana all over. We'll see what you got to win a grand prize of some money and a championship belt. It's made like a wrestling belt, but it's for country music people. All original from your boy.
Life is good.
Life is okay.
It's okay. Life is as okay as it can be right now. It's okay. Like I was saying, I was talking to this dude today at my work. I was like, it's okay, man. We're watching everything else burn. We're on the mountaintop.
I don't know about the mountaintop.
We're at the mountaintop, man.
I'm just
They call it the last best place for a reason.
The flames off my feet.
Yeah.
Trying to say it below pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
That's what, yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When all else fails, even though our world's all fucked up, you always have music. That's how I look at it.
Thank you,
Art.
man. I appreciate it. It's been a good chat.
And there's no fly on my back.
No flying his back. I'm not slapping him. Oh, drop your socials.
Oh, you can catch me on OBK Music for my Instagram. You can catch my music on Spotify. Good. Spotify. Look up Flayzia Fisher. You can catch me on, even if you want to ask who's winning a video game, Flayzia Fisher is my gamer tag for my PS5 and my PS4. I beat your ass in your video game. That's anybody. Open challenge. And my Facebook is Flayzia Fisher. I don't really have any title. You can catch my music anywhere.
Word. Got you.
Awesome.